going?
Okay, there we go. All right, welcome back
Oh,
to another episode of Two Dumb Dogs. Greg is
a
dying
cheese
over here.
wouldn't come. It wouldn't come, man. Oh, my eyes. Oh, I felt it. I was like, I know.
What, you had a sneeze come out your eyelid?
Oh yeah, it said no. Halfway through, it's like, you know what? Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. Well, it's another beautiful Wednesday morning. We are first week of February into this new year. This new year's going just as fast as last year, it seems. Fucking, we got snowed in. Oh shit, let me move my mic towards me so you could actually hear me. Uh, fuck. Dude, it's been a crazy weekend, man. Some shit's been on the grill per se. My living situation has been questioned. I'm having a little bit of a tiff with the landlord. He's supposed to be coming over today for us to sign a new lease. It's some bullshit dealing with private landlords, man. Like you never know what rules they're gonna apply, what rules they don't care about and all that shit. But yeah, after that, put Greg's travel on jeopardy coming over here because I am short on money and running out of time. Fucking my girls want to plan a trip down to Oklahoma. I don't think I'm gonna have the gas for that either. So a little bit depressing, but we're all still alive and still kicking, so can't complain too much. Um, what else happened? Oh yeah, we had another Pokemon Club yesterday. That went great. Oh, something else happened this weekend too. I'm blanking. I'm blanking. Oh, um, nope, I'm still blanking. What happened with you? You got anything to talk about? We're just doing like a an intro to the
well,
episode.
I already vented to you, and there's a lot of things that we can't talk about on the podcast
Oh
about
yeah.
what I vented to you.
Mm-hmm.
We do, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a line we cannot cross, even here. And I know that doesn't sound believable because I say anything, which is why I'm saying, ooh, ooh,
Oofta. Oofta. Yeah, I
ooh.
get that. We're not gonna air that out just yet.
But you did point out something like it's the landlord, it's the employer. The dollar isn't worth shit, and it's becoming less and less value. Everything is like fight or fright right now. All neighbors are seeing me more as their rivals instead of neighbors.
That's not good. Thought we were talking about my situation. What, you got a rental situation?
Mm. I'm just saying, like to the weeds of it, it's wake up and there's four wars going on that you not only need to navigate but somehow survive.
Ugh.
And once one is finally resolved, that one kicks off something else.
Mm, yeah, yeah.
Oh, what am I trying to say here,
And this
Rodney?
is where
I have so
I
much.
need a
My
cricket sound.
it's intense right now. It has been intense for a long time because life is very serious. This
Hmm.
is no fucking joke. Tomorrow is gone forever. Yesterday is gone forever, and tomorrow is entirely what we're going to make of it.
True, true. Yeah. So, and it's Super Bowl weekend coming up too. That's when this
I'm
episode.
sorry. I'm very sorry about your landlord situation. That is a frightening thing to have to deal with.
Yes and no. I mean, I've dealt with it a little bit before with the last one. It's like we had a conversation. Well, he was supposed to come over Sunday and do this, but he got distracted with his cattle and everything, and ended up just having a phone call on Monday, I think. And I talked to him and like I aired everything out, and I don't know, man. Like I don't know if it's just because he's an old man or if this is his only rental property. But it's like he has no interest in being a landlord. Does that make sense? Like his priority, he said it in the conversation like twice. Like my priority is this cattle, not coming out there and having an argument every time something happens at the property. And I'm like, he kept jumping to conclusions. I'm like, we're not having arguments all the time. Like I've been living here since July. This is our first argument. And it's because you want to raise the rent and you only gave us 15 days notice, and it was a verbal agreement. I don't work like that. I don't work off of verbal agreements. I've been burned before. It's like I don't know you different from any other landlord. So I'm treating you like I treat all the landlords. If you want, like my last lease, there was no way to get out of the lease except for to pay off what you owed or find somebody else that can take it over. And I'm like, this it's worse than a car loan.
Yeah, it is strange how unavailable basic needs have become.
Yeah.
When you talk about these private landlords, I don't want to like quote anything from any specific source like that because it's a rough draft from something that I remember from a while ago. I was watching an episode of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and he
Hmm.
has all the very serious documentaries where he gets
Yeah.
into the weeds
No, I like
of
that show.
serious problems. And when you
Hmm.
said private landlord, he had a whole he had a whole episode on this whole private landlord thing because something happened somewhere around the 80s or 90s where the middle class
Hmm.
was able to own multiple pieces of land.
Hmm.
Okay. But this also coincided in a time where in 1985, the government stopped giving grants to students,
Hmm.
right, to go to college.
Okay.
Because prior to 1985, there was a lot of grants that were given to students. That's why you could go to school in the 70s. You could go to Harvard with a minimum wage job and not have that much debt because there was grants that were coming from the government. But in 1985, uh, they stopped doing that. That was in the Reagan era, right? And simultaneously, when that happened, the tuition of the universities went up. And then in 93, it happened again. And in 2008 and in 2014, but it started in 1985.
Hmm.
What happens and all these things are causes and effects to things. So when you say a private landlord, you're talking about an individual who's one of a million now of people who basically became landlords because in their mind they're like, I'm going to buy a piece of land and I'm going to make somebody else pay me to take care of it. And that was the thought process. That is as far as the thought process goes. And anytime something gets in way of then their whole fabric of why they're doing this crushes before their very eyes. So
Hmm.
they either lash out at you, which is 90% of the time the problem,
Hmm.
or they neglect you so that you get out because you are now in the way of what their agenda was.
Hmm.
And this is getting so extreme now where some states don't even need to give you your landlord can kick you out tonight in some states. Oklahoma is one where you can do that. Louisiana, Virginia. You can kick you can call you call your landlord right now, cuss his ass out. And if this were Virginia, he can be like, get the fuck out. You have 4 hours to get out. I'm bringing the cops.
I
And
don't
they can
know.
do that.
I will cut you off there. Like we can't speculate to like I mean
I'm paraphrasing. I'm
I
paraphrasing. I'm
I'll
not
go
quoting. I'm just
into it
telling you
like
that
so my paranoia is like okay, yes, the the law is stacked in the landlord's favor because the landlords have always had money and power and sway in the lawmaking. That's why it's it's an investment. Real estate is one of the quickest ways to generate generational wealth because the idea is yes, you buy a property, you find some good tenants, and they pay a little bit more than what your mortgage payment is. And then if they do that for 30 years, then you basically bought yourself a property and all you had to pay was the maintenance fees for it, you know? And then you buy yourself another property, and then it just keeps. And then after
I
30
hear
years,
you.
all
But when,
it's all
when they when
profit.
they were talking to people that were actual landlords that were in it for obviously to make money, you're a landlord, you want to make money. But they understood the actual people that were in the game and understood the game. They can't talk to these private landlords the same way because the private landlords don't have a plan. An actual landlord who understands the landlord game doesn't talk to people like that. Doesn't treat doesn't have these kind of things because they understand that if you leave, their revenue dries up and then they have to it is an investment. Dude, being a landlord, you spend more money than you make. That's what a real landlord said. A real landlord who's been landlording for landlording guy. He said you end up spending way more money in the beginning than you make. And if you're not capable of psychological, if you're not prepared to do that, you shouldn't be in this
Mm-hmm.
because people's lives are at stake here, including yours.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like, so there's multiple ways to look at it. I mean, the most generic way is a couple buys their first home. They live in it for the first 5 years until they build up equity. Then they take out another loan against that house to buy another one. Then they move into their new house and then they rent their old one out. And then like they keep doing that every 5 years. They buy a new home and then just rent out the last one instead of selling it, and they can do that. Like that's a good business plan because the houses, you know, the quality and the state that they're in. But then other people, so you also got to look at it like from the renters aspect. So there's different tiers of landlords that you can apply
Yeah.
for based on your credit score, your criminal history, your income, and where you live and everything. So that makes it a bracket, like the filter that you're going through. Like almost anybody can get into an apartment as long as you're not a sex offender and you can pay your bills or you could prove that you make 3 times what the rent is, you know? That's how you get into an apartment. With private landlords, it's based on if they like you or not, you know? Like as much as the law says that they're not allowed to discriminate, I mean, it's also a free country. Like
Yeah.
it's built in that like they don't have to rent to you if they don't want to. They can like just like the bullshit like a cop can pull you over for having an air freshener hanging from your mirror. You know, they could pull you over because you got too much dirt on your license plate. It's just
Well,
an
the point
excuse to
the
start the
point I was
process.
trying to make with your landlord is that if he is not willing to invest in what's going on here, he is going to burn himself just as much as he could potentially burn you in the future.
Well, just to set the record straight, the situation here is that he came over before Christmas and talked about raising the rent and everything because
Yeah.
it's time. And I agreed with that because like he's kept the rent the same for like the last 5 years for Sammy's sake because she was a single mother raising kids here. And I don't know, I went off on him and said like, yeah, she doesn't even like talking to you, man. Like you're an old man, your jokes are very inappropriate. She feels violated whenever you're over here talking to her and looking at her like that. I'm like, and he's like, well, this is the first I've heard of this. I'm like, yeah, because of the power dynamic. You're talking about a single mother that has 2 kids that will not do or say anything that would jeopardize the living situation that her children have. So you have a lot of sway in all those conversations. Just like right now, like I feel like that's why he was chapped, is because like I'm opposing him. I'm like, I'm not just gonna blindly agree to what you
Yeah.
have to say. I
And in
have
his mind, he's
options.
like, this is not why I'm a landlord. This is not what the fuck is all of this?
Because I mean, it is what it is. Like if you want to raise the rent, raise the rent. But I need a fucking lease. I've been asking for a lease since July. It's been 7 months. I can't go take out a loan. I can't file my taxes properly without a fucking lease. Like I need to prove that I've been paying rent here for the last 7 months. You know, he went through the process of giving me receipts and everything, but it's like I need a lease. I need a lease saying a contract saying that I'm renting here and that I have to do X, Y, and Z for you to be able to kick me out. Like, cause right, yeah, like right now it's like he could start the eviction notice if he wanted to, because on
Yeah.
paper he could make it look like I've been living here illegally,
Yeah.
and that's
Although
why that's and
from
I was
what you're
trying to point that out,
describing,
huh?
I think another thing that you may have to factor in is because of what you said it twice now. He says it's not my priority.
Hmm.
Okay, that kind of mentality usually leads to somebody doing one of two things. He's either going to go aggressive at you, or he's going to sell the place. All right, while you're still there, and the next
He's
person
already
then
been
kicks you.
trying to sell the place. He's been trying to sell the place to us and everything, and I'm like. one, you haven't given us a price. You do an estimate and give me a reasonable number because this house is from like 1985. It's a manufactured home. They're only good
Yeah.
for like 30 years.
And you're 1985 was 40 years ago.
Yeah. So like the house is falling apart. Like, I mean, there are some major things. Like something's going on with the sewage. I guess the last tenant shoved a piece of wood in the plumbing and they can't get it out for some reason, which that sounds completely bullshit. It sounds like either he doesn't want to pay to have it or it's not that serious of a problem. Like we had a backup this last week and then the plumber blamed it on wet wipes, which like yeah, it kind of is our fault. We were potty training, so she might have accidentally thrown one in while we weren't looking. But it's just stuff like that. Like the water heater keeps going out every time we get serious wind above 10 miles an hour and shit like that. But it's like small things. And that's what I was trying to reset the conversation because I'm like, I don't want to sit here where like I don't feel comfortable calling you whenever shit goes wrong. And then you finally ask me and then I got a list for you, you know? It's like I don't know. So like that's been the big thing this weekend.
No,
It
you
was very
just
pressure.
dude, he's a bad landlord because he doesn't want to be a landlord. I don't even know what the fuck.
Yeah, and the fact that I mean he does all right about giving us notice before he comes over, but like Sunday we sat here for like 5 hours waiting on his ass. He didn't even call us. He just didn't show up. And I'm like, that's what I told him that I needed to leave here for work by 11:30 today. He's like, all right, I'll try and be there by 10. I'm like, fair enough, but I'm not gonna sit here and wait for you. But all right, let's move it on. Let's move it on. Okay. Yeah, so I
Well,
got a
if you
shitty
want to keep
landlord.
going, look, if you want to keep going, it's okay.
Well, I don't
Get
want
it
the
out of your system.
like I want to keep on time. Like we already spent 15 minutes on that, you know.
Yeah,
So,
and that's okay.
yeah. So that's just a shitty landlord situation. I'm sure everybody can relate in some way. Like I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, I'll go back to living in an apartment if I have to, if it means that I have it's a 50-50 relationship, you know. But then I'm like at the end of the day, I don't mind paying the extra rent because I'm not going to find a better price. Like, yeah,
Got
the
it.
house might be old, but I have this space. I have this office downstairs. The girls have their own bedroom. I have fucking two garages outside. Like, the only way that this could get better is if at least one of the garages were heated, you know, but then I'd still have to pay the light bill. That I get like that's the main advantage of moving out of here is I'm almost positive that my light bill would shrink significantly just because of
Okay.
how old this house is. Like I just had to replace the back door myself because like you could see the light coming through the back door and it's an exit door, an exterior door. But I digress. I digress. Okay, so some more frustration. Dude, Meta, Facebook, they can go fuck themselves, man. I had the biggest fucking aneurysm this weekend. So, you know the virtual reality headsets, the
Yeah.
Quests? So they
Yeah.
got they got the Quest 2 and now they got the Quest 3 and 3S whatever. So, this over the weekend I replaced one of my customers' TVs and because she had a Samsung TV and I guess it was wanting her to update her Samsung account or something. Anyway, she got frustrated with the pop-up messages and she just calls me up, Toy, I want a new TV. Can you make it happen? I'm like, yes, ma'am, I can. And I went and bought her a new TV and fucking popped it in, swapped it, took the old one home. There's nothing wrong with the TV. I just needed to refresh it. And then I'm like, this is $1,000 TV. I gave her like a $300 TV for it. But she's happy. She's happy, you know. I'm not gonna question it. She's Californian and her husband made all the rules, so she just wants a stress-free life. I'm like, I gave that to you. I gave you a simple TV that you can't lose the remote because the remote's on your phone. All that. I got her set up and she's happy. But anyways, I try to sell the TV for like only $200. I'm not gonna sit here and try and get $500 out of a free TV, whatever. But a couple people lowballed me. I'm like, no, I'll hold on to it because I'm like, I really want to use the TV because it matches my monitors, but it's too big.
Okay.
It's a 55
Okay.
inch. So I'm like, I can't use a 55 inch for a monitor.
Okay.
Um, but I listed on Facebook, and then this kid hits me up this weekend. Is like, "Hey, I've got a Quest 3 that I'd be willing to trade for you." And I'm like, "Booyah, that's right up my fucking alley." Because I was thinking about giving Paisley this one, the Quest 2, because she likes it, and I don't know. I was thinking about getting a second one so we could play together, but then he gave me the Quest 3 and I'm like, I like it. So I came home and so the situation is with my first Quest, I bought it when I was married and we
Okay.
set it up with a Facebook account that was specifically joined with us. Like it wasn't either one of us. We made it another Facebook because you got it's a Facebook product. The Quest
Okay.
is.
Okay. Okay.
So you got to
Okay.
sign in with your Facebook account
Okay.
or whatever, and then that's how it stays connected. Okay. All right. Now, fast forward 3 years, we're divorced. I still didn't change the email before we left. I don't have access to the email because I can't remember the fucking password. So somehow I got logged in because my computer remembered the password for some reason. And then I
Okay.
went in and I tried to add a new email and replace the original email. And what I saw, it was a success. I deleted the email that I didn't have access to and I added my new one. Then I go to log in on my phone and then it's like, oh my gosh, every time I try and log in, it wants me to do a two-factor, like send me an email, send me a text message, here's your six-digit code. And I get in, and then I'm like, I'm just going in fucking loops, bro. Like I get signed in, and it's like, oh, do you want to add your Facebook to this account? I'm like, yes, add Facebook. Oh, this Facebook account is already connected to a different Horizon account. I'm like, is it Meta? Is it Meta Horizons, or is it Facebook? Which I just want to know which account that I have the password for before I start making purchases. The whole
Oh
point of this
God.
was because I had purchased Beat Saber and this Barbaria on the original one. So that was like $50 worth of games that I'm like, I don't really, they're not worth buying again. So I was trying to reclaim them and stuff. But it was just, oh my gosh, dude, I was losing my mind down here. Because I hate computer problems like that. I'm like, I'm doing everything. I'm reading all the words. I'm clicking the right buttons. Why isn't this fucking working? Somebody fucking come help me. Save me. But
Oh my
oh my
God.
gosh, dude, I got on the chat line and I got on the chat line twice. Like they were able to because I was sitting here with now both fucking quests didn't work. They were both on the startup screen where please connect to your Meta Horizon account to move forward. And I'm like, fuck. Because like I didn't mess with it for all those years because I'm like the game works on the set, so like I don't have to mess with it, but it logged me out, and then I'm like, fuck. Now I got two useless damn VR sets. But I finally figured it out, and the like, luckily it was a good customer support chat. Like, dude was very helpful. He was patient with me because he was like asking me for this information. I'm like, which one are you talking about? We're talking about three different Facebook accounts, three different emails right now. I'm like, I don't know which one. You gotta be more specific. But I ended up resetting the console and starting from the beginning and repurchasing the game. Because I'm like, if it means buying the game again or contacting my ex-wife, I'll pay the money.
Oh God. The fucked up decisions that we have to constantly make in life.
Yeah.
Good God.
Oh, so yeah, after that bullshit, then I finally got it connected and all that. And then another problem. So now I'm trying to repurchase the games and I'm looking for a discount. And then I found on online that you're supposed to get a discount if you sign up for their Meta Quest Plus thing. It's kind of like Game Pass where they give you a few free games each month and you sign up for a monthly fee. I think it's like $7.99 a month, which isn't bad. Isn't bad. It's less than half a game. So I'm trying to sign up that, and I'm trying to add a credit card. And dude, I sat here and went through seven different cards, and none of them got accepted. I'm like, now you motherfuckers won't even take my money? Dude, I tried four credit cards from three different banks. I tried three debit cards from two different banks. None of them got accepted. I'm like, I'm looking on both my apps. I'm like, there's no fraud. There's no text messages warning me that it's been stolen. I'm like, it must have been Meta. So like the only way that I got it to connect was using my PayPal. And it's like
Oh,
that was a big mind fuck. I'm like sitting here, I'm like, dude, all my shit works. I'm doing the shit right. This fucking website is bugged. It's gotta be
no,
bugged.
it's not bugged. It's forcing you to do it the way they want you to do it. And I guess that means that Okay. The PayPal app, like the idea of the PayPal app, that's how it's going to be from now on.
I don't know,
Um,
I think you're jumping to conclusions.
no, hear me out for just 1 second.
I think the problem is that Facebook gets hacked so regularly that they require this level of security, and I'm not used to it. Like I'm used to I use the same three passwords for the last 6 years.
Uh, if I were to just give an example,
Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that on a live recording. Right.
it's all good. Don't worry. We're two dumb dogs. Remember
No, I
that.
use multiple. I change my password every year.
Um, I work at McDonald's. I deal with people
Hmm.
every day, 9 hours a day.
Yeah.
I have come to the point now when I am not surprised. I guess is the wrong word because there's nothing shocking about it, but everybody pays with their phone now. Okay.
I tried
So
that.
it is such a normal thing. So when somebody pulls out their debit card, I go, oh, that still exists. Or even more rare when somebody pulls out cash. Then I got to fumble with it and play. And I'm like, money. Oh, that's what it looks like. Oh, I haven't seen this in forever.
So do you? I'm pretty sure I saw stores that don't deal with cash, right?
Uh, Prior to COVID, that was very much the case. But even the bakers and the butchers, the all cash businesses for 100 million years, even they take card now. What
Oh, so
really
it's the
upsets
opposite
people,
way.
though, everything is card now.
So before COVID,
Now,
everything was cash.
I have, like, there are some places I've been to, even recently, where there's big signs where it's cash only. And I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, I got to go to the ATM real quick, right?
Yeah.
Like in Regensburg, when you see those signs under like the bridge, right, where they got all those stores down there in the train station area, and it's got those big ass signs that say only cash. But
Hmm.
I also see my ATM right around the corner, so that's never that big. But I just like when David was standing in line to get his gumbo tea, no, boba
Bubble
tea.
tea.
He was like in line with seven people, and he was the only one that paid with cash. Everybody paid with their phone. Doop, doop, doop
Hmm.
with their phone. I can't. I wish I could explain this to my dad. I'm like, one day you can use your phone that used to be on the wall, and you could just use it as a credit card all day
See, I
long.
tried that, but like I got a Samsung phone and like half my debit cards wouldn't get accepted on there. So like the pay to like the tap to pay, well they've got it now like that's where our debit cards are. Like you don't even have to swipe them or use the chip anymore. You could just tap them like you would your phone. And I
Does
like
I have a
but
stupid
half the time it
question,
doesn't
and
work.
I have a stupid question, and I know it's stupid because the answer is obvious. Um,
Go
does
ahead.
Walmart have its own app?
Yeah, but Walmart doesn't have tap to pay. You can't pay with your phone at Walmart. They all they have is chip readers and the slide and the swipe. And Walmart just lost their Capital One, and Sam's Club lost their Capital One credit cards. Well, I think they fired them. You got long ass nose hair, bro. I was fighting with that this yesterday, bro. Like my nose hairs was getting longer than my mustache, and they're tickling the rim of your nose. Oh my gosh, I fucking hated it so much. And then I
Dude,
get home and I cut them, and then now you got like fucking needles in your nose.
okay, nose hairs are in everybody's face. Thank you. The
I
reason why
know.
I was
We're at
asking
that
that
age
is
now. Next is our ears.
the reason
This
why I'm
particular.
asking about this is like if Walmart has an app. Like,
Yeah, Walmart has
okay,
their
I'm
own
just gonna
subscription now.
I know that you know what I'm talking about because you were here, but I'm just gonna list them off anyways. The grocery stores around here, just to name a few, are Aldi, Netto, Rossmann,
Hmm. Yeah, all these came over here.
Edeka, Norma. The big one is Kaufland, and the even bigger one, which is the closest thing to Walmart that we have over here, is called Globus,
Okay.
and it truly is a ginormous warehouse that closes as eight.
Um, yeah, we're at the 30-minute mark. They're gonna have to reset or wrap it up.
All
Uh,
right.
but no, so yeah, Walmart. I mean, Walmart's still as big as you think it is. Like,
But the point I was trying to make is every single one of those chain grocery stores that I just met, all of them, all German. Some are also in other countries like Aldi and Kaufland.
yeah,
They all have an app, and I'm watching like my girlfriend when we're at Netto. They have a scan thing now where you use your phone and you scan it, and all of a sudden it's cheaper. Everything in the apps is cheaper.
yeah.
It's the way the world works. It's forcing you to use your phone as a credit card. It's forcing you to get into these apps to save money. It's
It's not
the
necessarily
world.
forcing you; it's coaxing you by
The world is
littering it with
changing
discounts and
digitally.
everything. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Like pretty much, yeah, I'd say that it's the same over here. Target's got an app, Walmart's got an app. Walmart's even got Walmart Plus where you can sign up for 9.99 a month and you get even more discounts and more perks and everything like free delivery, free tire changes, and all stuff like that. Like that's how people get into these financial things is because like they're already poor enough that they need the discount to be able to purchase it. Like they have to get the $200 discount to even afford the tires that they
Yeah,
need to put on their vehicle. So they
yeah.
sign up for the credit card. They get the $100 off on their statement and everything. But then they use that credit card to fix all the other money that they were short on. And now they've got a monthly payment that's like $135 a month now. And then they stay poor. And it's like I don't know, I've become hyper aware of it now. Like this the most recent one that comes to mind is when I'm scrolling on YouTube and this uh what is it? Non-binary woman comes up and she's like, I just got $3,000 deposited in my bank account. I can take a vacation now. I'm like, are you fucking retarded? If you needed
Yeah,
the $3,000, you definitely didn't need the vacation.
yeah.
And like
That's
these people are just coaxing unsuspecting people into financial ruin. It's like payday loans and everything, and it's the fact that it's legal. We're legally allowed to fall into these traps because they worded it out specifically, but people don't pay attention like that. Like, I don't know, I feel like that's the big difference. Like, I've been listening to the news this week a lot, and it's like they're talking about the economy again. You know how Trump is putting these tariffs on China, and China's rebuttaling or coming back with raising our prices and everything. I'm like, didn't we just talk about this? Didn't he just talk about this 6 months ago? Like you can't tax big business because big business is just going to tax its customers.
yeah, yeah.
Like that's how
You
things go. It doesn't
if you
trickle
really
down. The
if you
the the
really want to
cost
talk
trickles
about
down.
Trump, if you really want to talk about Trump, oh, okay. On the German news, when they talk about Trump, they theorize, and maybe it's speculation. I don't know the man. I'm not married to the motherfucker. I don't know what goes on in that psychopath's mind, but he's described that he is a president who is still acting like everything is property, like a real estate, somebody in the real estate business. He's making all of life like the real estate business, and everything is some kind of negotiation or everything's up for grabs. And his determination to break the foundations of things on such a speed, it's scary is what it is when it's not funny. Sometimes it's funny.
Oh.
Sometimes, like the Gulf of America thing, is funny.
Yeah, that one caught me by surprise. I thought it was a
That's
joke at first.
that's funny, but the other shit is scary serious
No,
because
like I look at it as like this is an old man we're talking about. He's been living
he
in this
told
country his whole
he
life. So
he
he's had
told
all of these things on his to-do list for decades before he even thought about becoming a president. And now he knows
told
that he's only got 4 years left, so he's gonna have the biggest impact because he's driving on prestige. Like he's relishing the fact that you and I on this small little podcast are still talking about him. So he like that's the only reason I trust trust Trump is because I trust him enough not to slander his own name.
No, he's already slandered his own name. He's going after our allies.
Well,
You cannot.
okay.
He is going, and he did it so quickly. He's going after the European Union. He's going after Canada. Fine. We have a strange relationship with Mexico. Whatever. Okay. But we're going after our allies.
Well, if
You,
anything, like you can look at it like he's bringing awareness to like more people are paying attention to what he's doing than ever before. Like,
I swear to God, I think people voted for him because they really want the country to break.
well, we want things shooken up. I think what Trump brings is that he's shaking the foundation, and if it and we got to see if we're gonna be able to withstand it. I don't know. I feel like it's good for the
European leaders
country.
are also over here like we gotta quit relying on the U.S. for a variety of things because every 4 years the America that we know swifts changes so dramatically left or
4 to
right.
8. Trump's like
Since
one of the only two presidents that's ever had a second term that wasn't consecutive.
no, there's been a couple.
No,
It just hasn't happened in a long time.
I
But there,
think it was Carter. Carter was the only other one. Hey Google, how many U.S. presidents have served a second term non-consecutively?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Too big of a question for Google. All right, well, I'll type it
dude,
up.
all I can tell you is that from a history perspective, the moment you turn on the people that got your back, doesn't matter if you had good intentions or not, it will fall apart. Stalin killed his own people. They called it the in the 1930s. And what happened after that? The Nazis invaded, and they waited until he went on his whole thing and then invaded.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know.
Hitler dropped bombs on his own country. The Syrians, more recent, just for more, the mustard gas was dropped on. He dropped bombs on his own people for 2 years. Now he doesn't. He can never go back to his country.
Yeah, so
And
right
we're,
here, I'm reading from Time Magazine website that yeah, Trump is the second is the only the second president ever to serve two non-consecutive terms.
who is the other guy?
Cleveland.
Cleveland. President
Oh,
Cleveland. That's around the Roosevelt time, right? That guy.
yeah. It's
Oh, finally got it.
Fillmore, Ulysses S. Grant, Teddy Roosevelt all tried to get back in, but they weren't successful. But yeah, so I mean, that's something there to be said. I mean, even though it was only one term, he still tried, but he lost, but then he came back. So that's something new. Like, all right, I just want to preface that like I'm not a huge Trump supporter. I'm in the interest of America and the good that I'm choosing to see out of this is that any change is good change a little bit to a sense of like if he scares us, well, maybe we'll put our defense money where it really needs to go to, you know,
Well,
and making
I
more
hope
laws.
you're right. I have a much gloomier prediction for the future. I, in no way, shape, or form, think he's ever going to allow anybody else being president while he's alive. He is capable of attacking our allies. He is capable of inciting a surrection. He will go above and beyond to make sure that he is on top of the food chain in the way he is. And that's the only way he's going to move forward. There is no, he doesn't, everybody's against him in his eyes, including
Yeah,
our
I agree with
allies. He sees everybody as a rival and somebody that's screwing him out of something.
yeah,
And that's how he talks to everybody. He is not going to let go of the presidency in 4 years. There's nothing that's going to stop him from even in about 2 years. He's going to start talking about, I'm going to reelect for, I'm going to start running for president again. I'm going to change the Constitution. It's going to start in about 2 years where we're
I,
going to be like, so are you ready for a successor? And he goes, no.
no,
Or he does what
I
Putin did and he puts his puppet on the throne.
I feel like that's what the other side wants to believe, just to push hate towards him. But I really don't feel that. Like I get where you're coming from, and I know what you're talking about. The instances where I think it was the 2025 plan that he was fucking talking about during Biden's election. But I don't know, bro. Like that's I feel
He
like there's too
just
many
said
powers in
on
place.
TV,
And
they
if
were
there
asking him
isn't, then
questions.
we're gonna find out. If there's not the
He was
proper.
on TV yesterday or the day before. He he was very blatant about they were asking questions about the economy and he got frustrated 10 seconds into it. He's like, I don't care about the economy. He said it blatantly.
All right, we're gonna have to fact check
Blatantly.
that.
Hold on. It's the Hannity thing. The Hannity was the whole his biggest ally was trying to ask about the economy and he was talking about his enemies. And the Hannity guy asked like 3 times about the economy, and he said, "I don't care."
Let me see what
And
that
I'm
brings
just,
up.
it wasn't even a surprise. It's just, of course, this guy's going to act this way. He's a goddamn gangster. And we love that shit in America. We love gangsters, man.
I don't know, brother. It's gonna get crazy before it gets better. Like
And
that's what I'm learning.
I'm thinking, I said this to you last time about Trump. We deserve him. It's been, it feels like 70, 80
Hey,
years
yeah, it's easy
of
for
the
you to say
government.
across the pond.
Dude, we deserve him. How long do you mistrust your government before somebody loses their mind?
I don't know, brother. Like I feel like if anything,
My dude, my dad said fucking Reagan this, fucking Carter that, fucking da 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 this. I was all about Bush this. It's been the same situation with different faces. So Trump
always
comes
been.
along, and guess what? He really is some kind of change. Whether it's for
Yeah,
better or worse, we'll find
and
out
I
very
feel like
soon.
I don't know. Like I I'm gonna go off of my history, like with the underdog story. Like, yeah, he's making a lot of tough, but I don't know, man. Like, as far as conspiracies go, whenever like they always attack you. The more they attack you, it seems the more you're trying to make change. Like, just look at it like from a conservation struggle. Like these fucking conservationists that want to protect an endangered species. People on both sides will say whatever they need to say to get what they want. You know, the people that want to bulldoze the land to build the properties and everything, they'll say these birds are insignificant. We found another herd all the way across the world that you'll never verify or double check on us. And then the kids that have no money, they're fighting, they're getting vilified that these are nothing but hippies that just don't want to do anything productive in their life, so they're trying to stand in our way and all that. And I kind of feel like that's what's going on with Trump. Like they will say whatever they need to say, and they have the power and the clout to make it sound like that. Like with the insurrection things. Like a year, well, 4 years later, I'm like, now we're hearing that the police started it. And I'm like, if I put myself in that situation where you're crowded and you're in there because you're trying to stand up for the rights of your country and your government, and then somebody starts like it's like a mosh pit. Like you're at a concert and the first person to throw a bottle and hit somebody in the face, then it's on. Everybody
Yeah.
starts into a fight. And I'm like, that's how easily it could start. And the fact that, I mean, like, yes, I don't want to sit here and go on the record and say like releasing them like with no penalties is the right thing to do. But I don't know. I wasn't
Did
there.
that to 160 people. 160 people he let out in
No,
the
I think it was
insurrection.
1,600 people.
1,600.
He let everybody go. Only like six people he couldn't let go because they like literally vandalized and shit.
Well, I did say in about 2 years, I anticipate a specific pattern of behavior from him.
Let, let's
I hope
let's
I'm
fact check
wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But in about 2 years, I anticipate him going on a campaign trail, getting himself elected for a third time, and maybe even sooner than that.
I don't know. I think he's smart enough to know that like there's other positions that he can still hold his power, but not being the president. Because like it doesn't end with the presidency. They like all the former presidents, they still hang on and they find some position to be paid for it within the government. All right.
When he said that we got to lock politicians up.
Yeah, yeah. So he granted executive clemency to 270 or 37 individuals in his first term, and over 1,500 individuals as of January 22nd, 2025 in his second, all of whom were convicted of. Hold on, let me scroll down. Convicted of federal criminal offenses. So yeah, I was right. It's closer to 1,600 instead of 160.
Why is he making an enemy of the police?
But he's
That's the
not.
most.
Okay, like that's the that like this is the problem with fucking quoting statistics and fight and talking about other people.
There's
Like
no
like we're
way the
talking
police
about like
department that's
we're
involved in
talking
this is cool with this.
we're talking in the sense that Trump is the only one to ever do something like this. It's not true. It's not
No,
true. Let's look
that's
at how
not.
many people Biden fucking pardoned.
Biden didn't go after our allies. Dude, we are not alone in this world. There's 340 million Americans on a planet of 9 billion people. We could be swallowed up if the whole world bangs together.
You ready to be fucking surprised?
He
Guess.
didn't pardon he
Guess
didn't
how
pardon
many
anybody.
pardons Joe Biden gave in 4 years in his only term?
Goose egg. Goose
Eight
egg.
thousand.
To who?
I don't know, but he clearly so in half the time he's given over 4 times as many pardons.
Why?
Barack Obama gave nearly 2,000 pardons. So now that puts it in more perspective. Trump isn't like the only one that's done a lot of pardons. He's in the last decade, he's given the least. See, that's how statistics work. Is which ones you choose to talk about and which ones you don't. Like, and then you're painting this
Well,
picture
I'm
that
glad you said what you just said because I do have to
it's
adjust
perspective.
how I perceive this scenario.
Yeah. And that's what like that's how I felt about the insurrection. I'm like, I don't it's not that I'm scared of Trump and what he stands for. I'm scared that he let that shit happen because that's what I was under the impression is that he's sitting there on his stage and he's like and he just gave a hand wave or something, no, something nonverbal and he's like, "Go. Go, my children. Wreak havoc." But it's not. It was the people. The people are already frustrated enough that this guy is the one guy that's actually listening to their side of the story. The people that have been angry for decades. And there's power in that. There's power in
Hear you.
inflating the
I hear
weak.
you. Just please, for the love of God, Rodney, be careful. Hitler started the space run, and he
Hmm.
built the autobahn. He gave us the concept of a highway. He's
Hmm.
still the most evil man on the motherfucking planet. Stalin was a guy who wrote children's books. Man, was a poet. These people are monsters, and you can't give them a benefit of doubt just because they sometimes do something that looks right. Trump is inevitable. It's
I don't know,
inevitable.
brother.
We
Like
have to go through.
I
We
try to
have to go through this in life.
I'm not
We are at a
justifying it.
situation now. No, our government cannot be relied on to give us the basic needs that we need in order to thrive. In fact, we're barely surviving. I made the decision. Okay, just for a personal thing, just for me personally, and I know it's going a little bit off track, but I have to say this.
Okay.
Um, when we were in middle school, when we were in high school, do you remember those times that they made us either go to the auditorium or the cafeteria? And there was that spokesperson for whatever fucked up college that was there to talk to us and
Hmm.
tell us what the future is going to hold and what we got to do. And I'm not 100% sure about your perspective, but
College was
my
a complete waste
perspective
of
was
time.
this. When I remember the thing, we're like, okay, so after school, you got to start looking at, before you even get out of high school, you need to start applying for colleges. Okay.
Yeah, you need to get acceptance
You
letters.
yes, you need to start getting your acceptance letters ready, right? Um, you will. It was always encouraged 4 years. Bachelor's degree is where you got to end up being, and don't worry
That's a
about
master's,
money if
bachelor's
you get
degree.
it. Yeah. And there was always this, like when they talked about the financial aspect of it, they always kind of pushed it a little down, or they said minimum about it.
Yeah.
Where they're like, I even remember one time one of the ladies said, "Oh yeah, don't worry right away about the financial thing. You're going to be a freshman in college. You have the rest of your life to pay that off. Because once you got that degree, you're going to have any job you ever wanted. That's why you need that degree." And I knew, in like the seventh grade, I knew that that is absolutely not what I'm going to do. There's no way in hell that I'm going to financially put myself in that kind of a situation under any circumstance.
That was my exact thinking. When it
So
came down to signing that Pell Grant loan, I'm like I did the math. I'm like, you're saying that by going through college, I'll earn an average of like maybe $5 extra an hour than I would before. But then you're also saying that once I do get that job, I'm automatically signed up for an extra monthly payment of hundreds, $200 a month. So that automatically takes away the pay bump that you just got from doing it. So you went to school for 4 years to work the same miserable job just to pay somebody else for your qualifications. Like I just had
when
this
I
conversation with Megs. Like I would advise women to go into college because they stand to benefit it more from it than a man would. Because women don't have the same options of labor and like dangerous jobs. I mean, they do have the option. You're not being stopped. The only thing that's stopping you is your will. Like legally you can be a truck driver, legally you can be a logger and everything, but statistically you won't. A man, like unless you already know what you're gonna do, I don't advise college to anybody. College is not somewhere to find yourself.
yeah, I agree with you because that you're financially you're
And
whoa.
it was a big way to bump up the debt. So doing all that, now we have an entire generation of Americans that are already on the hook and for 30 years paying into these schools. It was a
Which is
it
why
was a
they can't buy a
subscription
house.
plan. It's a subscription plan for these schools to make sure that they stay open. You know, it's terrible. It was terrible thinking. I'm glad that I saw through it because like now I'm 30 and I'm seeing all my friends that they're like, yeah, I make X amount of money. Like I was talking to Meg, she's like 40 and I'm like and she's talking about how she burned through an inheritance already and she's like, "But I bought a home." And I asked her the simple question is your home worth more than your debt? And she's like, "No." I'm like, "So then you don't it doesn't matter that home doesn't count in your favor because if you canceled everything out, you'd lose that home. That's not staying on top." I mean, I'm in the same situation. I owe more debt than I have, as far as property because I bought cars. But it's like people keep saying that the economy is trash whenever our economy is not trash. The liquidity of the cash flow is there. Like it's so easy to make cash in America. But the problem is that nobody forced us to learn how to save. Like the biggest problem in America families right now is like 60% of American families have less than $400 saved away for an emergency. And the crazy thing is that $400 is not emergency money. You can't
No,
even go buy it. You can't replace you can maybe replace one tire for $400, but that's not including the tow truck that you needed to get if you broke down on the side of the road that you couldn't get to, you know?
aren't tow trucks like a grand now?
No, I mean if you're still in town, like you can get a tow for like about $100, but yeah, it could go from $100 to $400 just for the tow, not for the repair. And I'm like, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, from a mechanic's aspect, there's only like 10% of all mechanic repairs that go under $200. Like for 1 hour of labor for a mechanic is $80. Then you got to include the parts, then you got to include the time away from work because we don't get paid vacations over here. So that's the situation with America's economy. It's not that we don't have money, it's that we don't have money it's that we don't save our money. Everybody's living off of 100% of their income. And
Yeah.
and I would say that that's due to the market because we're constantly bombarded because every company has our information and knows exactly what we like because of all of Facebook and the cell phones and the technologies. Because nowadays you can't get by without some form of a computer in your hand. Like for you, like everybody's relying on the phone for pay. I'm like, I did that for an emergency. Like I'm like, if I forget my wallet, at least I got something on my phone. But I never relied on the phone because like internet connection and everything. And that's so embarrassing. You get there and I'm like, I have the money, I just can't give it to you. You know? So it's like the way that the market that people are allowed to advertise into our way, it's like we're children. Like we're sitting here, we get sad, we get depressive, so then we buy. It's called retail therapy. Okay? And they make it look okay because like, okay, Netflix is only $20. I can spare $20. I just won't buy two coffees. Then you got your coffees. Coffees are almost $10 a cup. So no, you got like people are
Oh my
only
God, I
making.
can't believe you say words like that. Oh my God, when I was in Gainesville, they had that Dollar Tuesday thing for slice of pizza and a small coffee, but it was $1.
Yeah, like you can't get barely anything for $1 now.
Dude, that's 1,000%
Like
markup
a
since
McDonald's
2008.
burger, a McDonald's burger is $5 now. And they've
Our
gotten smaller. They it's
yeah,
like they fucking purposely squish them now.
yeah.
It's like you won't
I've
even
seen.
sell
I
me
mean,
the
yeah,
air. You won't even
the
sell me
double
the
cheese,
air in the bun.
the normal. I know what you're talking. I see it, man. It's freaking weird. It's scary
Yeah.
and it's worrisome.
It
It's
is
worrisome
worrisome.
to
It's
watch.
gonna pop eventually. But like that's where I feel like America's problem is as far as economics is that we didn't listen to our parents. We didn't we like we started working super early. Like that was my situation. I started working as soon as I was legally allowed to. And I remember it so fucking clearly. This old lady that was working next to me, she's like, first thing you need to do is you need to take as soon as you get your paycheck, you need to take 30% of it and put it away. Don't even look at it. Put it
I
away.
was told that too.
And I didn't fucking listen to her. And I didn't fucking listen to her, bro. And now 20 years later, I've been working, but I haven't saved anything.
Because you're not in an environment that's
Because it's
capable of
so
putting.
tempting. It's so tempting. Like you sign up for a little subscription, and then a year later you've spent $100 on it, and then you accidentally signed up for another one and another one and another one, and then you don't like nobody balances a checkbook anymore. Like that's obsolete now.
Yeah, we don't
So
even have checks anymore in Germany. That hasn't been a thing in 20 years here.
even the
Like nobody has
seniors.
checks. You don't pay things to check the check. I can't. Okay, so I received a check from my grandmother. She had this old leather checkbook, and it was cool. I hadn't
Mhm.
seen one in forever, and I mocked her in a friendly kind of way. I was like, "Ooh, 1899! Look at this shit right here! Oh my god! Do you still have the phone where it's?" I was doing shit like that, and she smacked me around. She's my grandma.
Good.
This is 2012, and I brought that check to a bank that is like Bank of America. It's called Sparkasse here, and he said that as of 2008, Germany doesn't do checks anymore, and that we're gonna
Mm.
have to do this some other way. That this is an invalid form of payment. That this particular bank, he couldn't speak on behalf of other banks. I learned that later, but this
Mhm.
bank hasn't accepted checks since 2008 or 2009 or something like that.
Okay.
I said, "Oh, I didn't know. I'll go find another bank." He said, "Yeah, good luck."
Yeah.
Nope. And
No,
then
nowadays.
years later I saw a documentary on it. There was this American that moved on the other side of Germany, and they were doing that video comparing the problems between Germany and America. And one of the advices that Americans are given if they're going to come over here is there's no such thing as a checkbook. Don't bring that around. It's toilet
Well, I
paper.
think I think Americans are up to date on that because like even over here, like the only things that you can pay with check are like some grocery stores will let you if they know you. Your bills like your utility bill, your cable bill, your phone bill, you could still pay those with checks. And then like contractors,
Really?
like if you're paying over $1,000, then yes, generally a check is accepted. But only because now we have the verification process where like they can run the check like they would a credit card. They'll run the numbers on the bottom. They'll get an approval like do you have these funds in your account, and then they'll accept the check. But the reverse of that
The
is like
building
it's almost like
manager.
$100 to $300 if that check bounces.
I think it was building manager was the word you said.
Property
That the
manager,
guy, your landlord, your landlord, who doesn't, he needs a building manager or a building
property manager.
property manager. So the property manager here, I paid him through PayPal the other day.
Yeah. See, I don't like the third party ones because it just doesn't feel official.
But that's the only way. Like it was either that or that the landlord take it out of the rent at the end. I could pay them right now, or when the rent comes, they take it then from my bank account. There's the point I'm trying to make is there's no there's no room even to be for a check to be allowed to be
Hmm.
as an option. No,
No, I
it's
totally
not
understand
allowed as
that
an option.
because like checks were obsolete before I started my cleaning business. Like, but now I've gotten to the point where I prefer checks. I prefer checks because one, it's the cheapest way for me to get my money. If I let them use a credit card, the credit card company takes up to almost 5% sometimes.
That's another thing that's really strange. How can one side of the world be like this with digital money, and then the other side like three?
It's
They
the
said
beauty
something
of it,
around the
brother.
lines of like 7% of the entire population of Germany has a credit card, right?
It?
Whereas in America, nobody has a credit card in this country because you don't need it. You don't need a credit card to like buy a house. I've known for a while now that Germans have a credit score, which I thought you only get with a credit card. I thought the only way possible to accumulate a credit is
You
through
need
the
debt.
credit.
You need debt to have a credit score.
Well, when they compare things like that, where you look at then American and Canadian society, where it goes from 7% of your entire population to 93% of all Americans have credit. No
That's the
wonder there's
market. It's the market,
trillions of
brother.
dollars of debt.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
I'm
it's
sorry.
normal.
I'm sorry I keep bringing you into other directions. I'm really sorry I keep doing that. It's my thoughts are so scattered on this topic.
Hey, dude,
There's a
that's
guy
why
on
this
YouTube. He
it's
tries to help people pay his bills.
huh?
There's that guy on YouTube. He always the people that are riddled with debt, where he sits down with them and he talks to them where he's looking at their
Yeah,
bills and
I've
stuff.
seen that guy,
And
yeah.
they freak out when he says that they should downgrade their car. Like their
Yeah.
priorities are not in the. I have a
And it's
credit
the
card. It's okay.
mentality. It's the
It's
mentality. We're still
It's
children.
not, yo, capitalism is not why you fucked up. Okay, it's not capitalism's fault that you're a fucking retard. It's not your car. Oh,
It's the influence.
oh my
It's as
god,
simple as staying what's the saying? Catching up with the Jones or staying up.
dude. One guy said, "If I lose my house, then so be it. I still got my truck." What kind of fucked up
Well,
answer is that?
you can drive your car to work. You can't and live in your car. You can't drive your house to work.
Yeah, but I thought the whole thing about the American dream was to have your own home.
That's not. I mean, it's still like it's, but it's more of a dream now than ever. It's like, yeah, I'll admit, sitting here, our
Dude, let me
economy
hit
is
myself.
like,
I'm hitting myself, man. That's how much this situation infuriates me.
no, dude, my financial status is a perfect example of America's status. I have plenty of cash flow. Like I bring in like almost $5,000 a month, but I pay over $1,000 in credit card payments and loan
You
payments.
just told me that your landlord hasn't given you a lease in months. That would never go down over here. Dude, that could get a landlord arrested over here if they tried some shit like that because of the bureaucracy.
But
Because
the flip side of it is that he's been super flexible with her. Like for the last 4 years, he stops accepting rent after Thanksgiving, and then waits for her to get her income tax, and then she can pay up out of her income tax.
okay,
You
that
know,
is actually a really because then you don't have to worry about Christmas or
yeah,
Hanukkah
and then the
or
fact that
whatever
he's kept
holiday
the rent
everybody
way
celebrates.
below average, like that's the flip side. Like that's why I'm willing to deal with him because like finding a place with this size and the amenities is going to cost us at least 1,500 a month. So he's actually saving us 350.
I
You
see
know,
your perspective and I can understand how you could benefit from that kind of environment. I would need somebody to tell me that on day one, though, because the anxiety will cause me to act irrational if somebody did me dirty like that in life. Well, I'm trying to scrape by and survive and create something and just
hmm
do. And somebody's taking that away from me to my face.
yeah.
I don't think I would be able to act rationally like that. And I think that's a big issue in America. People don't know how to act rationally anymore. They
Because we're
they
a
have
bunch of kids
all
still.
sense
We
of,
haven't matured because we don't have war like our last ones did.
and how can we if everything costs fucking $10?
Speaking to the choir, brother.
Oh,
Speaking to the choir. Well, all right. Well, we gotta wrap it up. We've passed our hour mark.
good
Anything? Any
talk.
last words?
Fuck.
Fuck this world and all these bills.
No, that's where I was trying to go though with what I was telling you about college. Because when I started expressing that in the 10th and 11th grade, that this is not what I'm going to be doing after high school. For one,
Mhm.
I hate school, and two, you're clearly setting me up for some kind of financial failure. But I couldn't say that at 16. What I said is, but what if I fail in college?
There's always two
I was
sides to it.
told the thing that I was told at Green Cove Springs High School is that without a college degree, you're not going to make it in America.
That's exactly what I was told. And then it looked right because like every job that I went to, they
It
wanted
did to
five
me
years
too.
experience. I'm like, I just graduated high school, bro. Give me a
There,
chance.
it did to me too. It looked exactly like that. I believed that sentence with all my heart and soul that if I don't go to college, I'm not going to make it in America.
hmm
I joined the army and I ended up on the other side of the world. And I'm not saying I'm doing worse or better on this part of the world, but I can tell you that people don't talk to me like that over here.
hmm
People don't say these things. People don't have, my life isn't on the line every time an accident happens.
hmm All right, that's a little depressing. But I don't know, man.
Oh,
It's the duality of it. It's the duality of it. Because like if you spend an hour sitting here just talking about the bad sides of it, like I flipped it on you. Like yeah, it's unnerving not knowing what the rules are, but at the same time, he's also willing to negotiate with us and everything. Like he didn't threaten to kick us out whenever I had that argument with him. He's just like,
that's
I've never had
awesome.
to deal with this, but I'll bring the lease over. You guys take as much time as you need to read through it. If we need to make any corrections, you write those on the side. I'll retype it up, and we'll be on good ground. And I love that the fact that I can bring my problems to him. Like, hey, I really like this, but I have some things that I'm nervous to say because it might rock the boat. And he's like, okay, well, let's rock the boat, and it'll eventually stop rocking. You know, it'll eventually calm down. And that's what
Yeah.
happened. You know, because I trusted in him. And it's like I agree, like over in America there's too many unwritten rules. Like as far as how to get around and everything. But at the same
It
time
always
is like we
felt
don't have
it
as much
always felt
paperwork
to
as
me
you.
like people were intentionally withholding information from me. And
That's the power of a free market. It's freedom of
it
information.
just
You have
gave
to
me
inform
this it
yourself.
just gave me this I could taste it right here, man. I could taste that feeling right there, even
Yeah.
now. And I've lived over here for so long, and I can never forget that people did me like that because it's the game. That's how you do it, man. What? And then they looked at me like I like you deserve this. You deserve this outcome because you're not playing the game right.
This is what leads me to religion, though. Like, this is why I'm going on the flip side of like I used to be on that where like religion and government shouldn't be mixed. But then
They
I'm
shouldn't
like,
be mixed.
huh?
If you look at Ireland, man, like government and religion cannot be mixed. As people
Well,
will always be persecuted.
I in
Look at
the
what
okay,
Ireland
we're
did.
getting off subject. We don't have that much time to talk about Ireland. But I'm in the sense is like if we don't have some morality in our government, this is what we get.
Yeah, but look at all these mega churches. Look at what America did to religion. They turned that into a consumer thing.
And who's to say like everybody's allowed to stray from the path, brother. Like this is ultimately what I'm getting to is like there will always be temptation along the road. It is your job and your parents' job to instill you with the foresight to see through these illusions, through these mirages, through these quick boosts of dopamine. You in order to be successful, you have to be willing to sacrifice your short-term happiness for your long-term benefit. And that's what Americans are struggling with right now because the way of technology is going, like it siphons all that little bit of savings away from us because we're stuck at home and we're overstimulated to the point where we can't, like the majority of Americans are not satisfied with just sitting on the edge of the lake and throwing a line in and just sitting there catching their food. No, it has to be a virtual reality one where they spent over $1,000 on the setup just to do the same damn thing. Like that's what I feel
No,
like it's
no.
overstimulation. So we can so now we have a heightened risk of depression, and all of these businesses are just profiting off of that. Like therapy is one of the biggest gougers. I'm not saying that therapy doesn't work, but I'm saying that the majority of people that are in therapy probably would have done just as fine if they just talked to their parents that way
On
or
the
had a
topic
good
of
friend.
therapy, if it costs $8,000 an hour to
That's what
fix a
it's
human being, you can't be saved. I'm so sorry to say it like that, but if it costs like that dude in Los Angeles, the therapist do 8 grand an hour or 6 grand an hour, whatever the hell it was.
There's
If it
good in
really costs,
everything. You just have to be willing to look for it. So like the flip side of that is that there's millions of companies that are coming out to try and make it cheaper. Like you got BetterHelp, which is like $400 a month. So that's like $100 a session. That's relatively cheap if you're talking about your health. Like if you're looking at a therapy session, like oh, we're over time. Fuck.
it's okay. Hey,